We are back live today from Cranberry Lake. Oops, just got here. Cranberry Lake because in 2.5 weeks we'll have our first retreat of the year, which is about the third or fourth uh, since its inception. And there's a one following the week after. So let me show you around. See if I can get that. Oh, here we go. There we go. So this would be the space that we would find ourselves for 4 hours. And it actually connects real beautifully to today's subject of love and peace, and most importantly, human evolution. The center, the core of being human is love. Even if we might not think so, it it just shows up differently. And I want to talk about the connection I make to human evolution, because there's definitely different kinds of evolutions that we can look at. One is the human body's evolution, our brain capacity, how we used to do things and were able to comprehend, and the possibilities there are, that has evolved. And also, and something that I want to focus on today, which is the evolution of technology, which has something to do with us as the human body, right? And so it just appears to me that those two parts are like they're they're apart from each other, right? Because, and funny enough, they originate from the same place, which is here, our brain, right? And I'm going to just use technology as such, not just, the phones that we have, the social mediums that we can use, the resources that are accessible to us, also other types of technology like dishwashers and microwaves and cars and all these things that we have, and I call we as humanity. Obviously that wasn't me or you in particular that invented these kind of tools, resources, right? Um, let's use the car, for example. Here in the States, for example, it's really difficult to find um, sidewalks because the expectation is that you have a car, right? And maybe today we can expect these things, but they haven't always been that way. Meaning, back in the days, if you had to walk without a sidewalk, you had no problems because there were one, no cars, and two, if there were cars, they weren't going as fast. So obviously now, the more we evolve these resources, let's say cars, for example, they evolve, right? They used to be not like it wasn't by gas, like then we invented the gas, or rather the use of gas, how we can then use the motor skills that way, and then now we're with electric, right? And so every piece of it is just an evolution in itself, right? We used something to its fullest, then we recognized, oh, and if I'm not mistaken, the reason electric cars were invented in the first place is because the fossil fuel, fossil fuel that we wanted to reduce, right? And so we then wanted to get away from that, then inventing batteries, right, for the cars. And at the same time, we have to recognize no matter what technology we implement, it will eat away some parts of the resources, be it water, be it electricity, any kinds of power, right? And so obviously we want to then get to the certain powers, energy sources that are more accessible, like the sun. But what if it's raining like the past few days? Then it's really difficult to get this. And that's why we have solar panels that then can absorb the sun when it's there. And then you have the power for prolonged time. The same thing going back in the days to harvesting. we knew the winter is cold, so we were doing all the gathering of foods and nuts and everything that we need. I mean, you still see it in the squirrels, right? And other animals that are gathering their foods before the winter. And now we have grocery shops. We don't have to do this anymore. We can just go to the grocery shop. But then there are the farmers that still have to think about those things. And so all I'm trying to say here is that there is always a consequence in whatever we invent. The same thing goes, and now we're coming to the piece of love and peace, the peace to love and peace, is that there is the human body as well, that we usually not integrating into these inventions. So to say, I'm going to use the dishwasher as an example because I've been in many, many conversations in the past few weeks in this regard. Because for some reason, there are good reasons, many reasons. I don't know if they're good, but there are many reasons why I wash my dishes by hand. I'm not using a dishwasher. Meanwhile, our dishwasher is not working, but that's not the main cause why I'm doing this. And so from that perspective, it's like, all right, what are some advantages and what are some disadvantages? Obviously, the disadvantage is that I'm spending 15-20 minutes a day doing those dishes, where I could be doing something else, where the dishwasher could do my work, right? The same thing goes with AI. Like, we're inventing it so it can take care of the jobs that I don't want to do. So the question isn't necessarily about what are the things I don't want to do. The question to me is, what are we replacing it with? So if I'm not doing the dishes myself, what am I doing during that time frame? What am I attending to while my dishwasher is doing my job? If I'm attending to something that is more productive, meaning spending time with my family, having more quality time with someone, then that is an awesome way to replace that time I would be behind the sink. Meanwhile, there's other things that the rest of the family has to do that we can then arrange those things at the same time so that we can come back together when all the things are done. So meaning oh, it's really difficult or anything. It's just like, I'd rather do something else, right? Comfort. I want to attend to and which ones I don't. And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you and look into, are you opting in or out of something because you don't want to do it? Because you rather want to do something else. For example, this morning, I had to decide to clean my bathroom. I rather would have gone on my morning walk that I usually do instead of that. And I just had to bite into sour apple and just do it, right? Now I feel great because it's done. And it's the same thing as many of us do with procrastination. I mean, that's the version of procrastination, because there's something about it we don't want to do, right? And so I don't even want to make this a long conversation. All I here is to say is I want to challenge you to notice, when you move through life, are you opting into something to avoid discomfort? And again, discomfort is by doing something that comes more easy. Like, here is another example. And it's not really to do with what I'm doing per se, but actually, yes. Two things we're going to talk about: exercise and dieting. I don't know about you, but for me, food, I love food. So I have to figure out a way to not become humongous because I'm just eating the whole time. So I have to be mindful about the things I eat. What am I consuming? And I love myself some fries. So am I going to eat fries every day? I mean, no. It would be nice, but no, I'm not. I also don't feel great if I do this every day. So, because at the end of the day, if you think about losing weight, for example, losing weight is way harder than gaining it, right? I don't know. If you're one of the people, let me know, because you know that. I'm sure you've been there. Same thing goes if you want to gain muscles. It's so much easier to lose muscle than it is to gain. And what is the same thing that makes it difficult to lose the weight or to gain the muscle, it takes effort. It is very, very unfortunate that the things that are good for us take effort. It takes a certain discomfort. And even be it being in relationships, friendly relationships, loving relationship, working relationship, any kind of relationship being in connection with other human beings. It's not always easy, and we can't always opt out to only surround ourselves with the people that give us what we want, which is wonderful, pleasant experiences. It just doesn't, right? Sometimes you have to have that difficult conversation. Sometimes you have to do something you don't want to do. And sometimes you just can't get your way and you just got to cope with it. So it's not always just expressing it. It can also be in a way to just rest with it and say, you know what? It ain't that important. It isn't that important. Let me just move on to the next thing. And so with that said, I just find that all these inventions are great. I obviously get much further in life with a car than on foot. I don't use a microwave nor a dishwasher, so I can't speak on those, but I'm sure for you, those can be very, very useful. And at the same time, it doesn't hurt ourselves to sometimes pause and maybe do something by hand. Maybe, even washing laundry, not that you do a whole load of your whole entire family, but here and there, maybe you're on a trip, you just want to go with a carry-on, you need to wash it. Guess what? Right? That's an option. So all I'm saying is not to throw out all the technology that we have invented, that we as humans have invented. I'm just going to take credit here, to take it or leave it. It really is just about being more aware. How are we using it? Again, AI, great tool. But do I need to use it for everything and everyone and everything? Maybe not, because I just learned that using, for example, ChatGPT, giving one prompt, it uses the same amount of energy than 20 minutes of a light bulb. So let's say you check it or use it 5 times a day. There goes 100 minutes of a light bulb being on, over an hour, almost 2 hours, right? So just ask yourself, is it really necessary to use all the tools that are accessible to us at all times? Is it okay to sometimes get maybe into a conflict with someone because you decided to only use the car once a day, not twice, which happened to me yesterday? And just being more conscious and make sure that just because there's something new on the horizon, something exciting and easier to do something, to ask ourselves, what are the consequences of using it? And again, not saying don't do it. It's just more of do it with more consciousness. Because if you do that, you live your life with much more awareness and in a deeper connection with humanity. And that's how we can evolve even more as a human being, which is up here and in here and not just the external pieces. And yesterday I was listening to one of the talks, or rather a speech at Hamilton College, and the interesting thing was there to be amazing at AI and like being a programmer, for example, you have to be extremely good, right? So one piece that is really necessary for us to implement more is liberal arts, for example, the teachings of the human being. And so this is where I've been in. This is something that I'm passionate about, and I hope you too will discover how fulfilling it is to understand ourselves better and therefore create deeper relationships with one another. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.